this time, I would like to tell you a little bit about our locomotives and vintage rail cars you're riding in today. There's a locomotive at each end of our train, and they both were built by the General Motors Electromotive Division for the Baltimore and Ohio Railroad. All of our vintage cars were built by the Budd Company of Pennsylvania, then purchased by the Branson Scenic Railway in 1995. It was repainted in 1999 and appropriately numbered our locomotive number 99. Next, we have our power car, which is used to generate power for the lights and air conditioning for the train. Then is our Silver Eagle car, built in 1949 for the Texas and Pacific Railroad. This coach has 60 reclining seats and spent time in the Indiana Transportation Museum before being restored and leased to Amtrak. The Silver Eagle was finally purchased by the Branson Scenic Railway in April of 2001. The next car is our Silver Garden, a dome, buffet, and lounge car built for the Chicago, Burlington, and Quincy Railroad in 1952. It also worked for the Kansas City and American Roll Zephyr trains for the Burlington Northern until the birth of the Amtrak in 1971. That's when the majority of America's passenger service was turned over to Amtrak. Our next car is the Silver Lake, a 1952 buffet dining car, once known as the Cashmere Pulaski, as it operated for Amtrak. It was added to our fleet in 1990, in the 1930s, 40s, and 50s, and are owned by the Branson Scenic Railway today. The locomotive at the front of our train in our current direction of travel is number 99. It's a 1963 model GP30M with 16 cylinders producing 2,000 horsepower and weighing in at a whopping 300,000 pounds. It was originally built in 1949 for the Southern Railway. Next is the Silver Cherry, used on our Saturday evening dining train. The oldest car on our train today is the Westport, built in 1939 for the Atlantic Coast Line. It worked on the famous Champion train, taking the rich and famous from New York to Florida. It's built in 1952 as a Vista Dome, parlor, and all. We've come to a stop here because this is our return point back to Branson. Now we ask everyone to check your train tickets, please. Everyone got them? Okay, if your ticket number is circled, that means you purchased a one-way ticket, and we'll let you hop off right here. We're just messing with you. Certainly hope you enjoyed your trip so far, and we know you found to spot a few things on our return that you didn't see on the way out. Now I'm going to do you all a big favor and be quiet for a while on the way back. As we get closer to town, I'll be back and have a little more information for you.
gumbo po' boys.
Well, folks, we'll be crossing back over Lake Taneycomo in a minute. And if you recall back at the beginning of our trip, I promised to tell you a little bit more about how it became a cold water lake. This small lake, built in 1913, didn't do much to stop the flooding of the White River. In the 1920s through the 1950s, floods did a lot of damage to downtown Branson and Hollister. For example, the flood of 1945, our very own Branson Depot was almost completely submerged. Because of these floods, the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers built Table Rock Dam upstream. Table Rock Lake completed filling in 1950. Road accidents occur at crossings where active warning devices are used. So folks, please remember when crossing those tracks to always look, listen, and live. The few seconds you might say, well, are they really worth your life? Coming up on a switch here, folks, and we'll be making a stop and get lined out on our sidetrack.